Hunt 'em Big with Steve Bartylla. Brought to you by Wildlife Research Center, the gold standard. Reconics, see what you've been missing. Get armed and deadly with Easton's FMJ arrows. By Hunter Safety Systems, saving lives is what we do. Sever broadheads, straight through it. By Primal Tree Stands, stand safely, hunt smart. By Chestnut Hill Outdoors, and by Shop Outright Hunting Products, home of the Morph Pro Bowhanger.
One of the best tips I can possibly give you is before you go out scouting, before you even think about hanging a tree stand, gauge the amount of pressure that ground is receiving. I'm exceptionally, unbelievably lucky in no small part because of you all. You guys threw this northern Wisconsin kid on your shoulders and you carried me to success in these areas, and that's never lost on me, and holy man do I ever appreciate that. To this day, because of that, I am, as I speak, I'm managing a 2,500 acre piece of property, and I'm helping to manage a 5,000 acre piece as well, and then a handful of smaller properties, more real world properties. Okay. I get to hunt those utopias. That's part of my payment. Okay. It is incredibly, incredibly fun. Okay. And I'm telling you right now, especially on those bigger ones, geez, if I just spent all my time hunting there, I would really, really, really look smart. Because everything works better on Utopia. When you are take a 2,500 acre property and you've got 12 people hunting it all year. Is that pressure? Because that ain't pressure in my book. That ain't real world. That's Utopia type stuff there. And on those types of grounds, you can get away with calling. Heck, I can take 2 arrows and go like this with them and rattling young bucks at least. Your decoying works so much more effective. Every single call, every single gadget, every single tactic I can dream up is going to work so much better there than it is in the real world. So much of what we're told are from people that never hunt the real world. In many cases, I believe they honestly believe what they're saying. But I'm telling you, what works on Utopia does not work on that pummeled public ground. Gauge how much pressure that ground gets. If it's high pressure, here I'm about to tell you in just a couple sentences my entire formula for successfully taking mature bucks off of heavily pressured ground. Find where everybody isn't, because 9 times out of 10 that's where Mr. Big is going to be. If he followed the rules that he's supposed to follow, you know what? He got killed at 1.5 or 2.5 years old. He sure didn't make it till 3.5. Calling, rattling, all those gadgets, leave them at home. Just leave them at home, because if you're going to call and rattle in a heavily pressured area, you might as well jump up and down, wave your arms and scream up in the tree stand, "Hey, you idiots, I'm up here." Okay, because guess what? A lot of other people have been calling and rattling before you out there. And if Mr. Big was going to come into that, he's already dead. The ones that survive these pressure cookers are the ones that don't do what we want them to do. Otherwise, they're already dead. They died as a fawn, 1.5 old or 2.5 old, if they got lucky to make it that old. Find those spots where no one else goes. That is where Mr. Big is living 9 times out of 10, because that's how he's surviving. Next, do nothing to draw any attention to you whatsoever. I go ahead, I set up that stand 9 times out of 10 in the spring. I'll cut shooting lanes if legal at that point. If I'm setting up during season, not a chance. I am not trimming anything. All I'm doing is putting that stand up in that tree and trying to find windows that I can shoot through. What I do is I wait until up in Wisconsin, Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, Minnesota, Michigan, Pennsylvania, those types of states, I wait until it gets to at least that last week of October, preferably first week of November, before I ever go in there to hunt. I want that testosterone level up higher, inspiring those bucks to move more, because I got to beat them in there. I'm going to get in there. I'm going to wait for a good deer movement weather day, meaning that it's not hotter than normal, not windier than normal. Okay, what I preferably like is have the temps going like this for about a week and boom, drop 10 degrees. When that drop occurs, I'm going to be up in that stand. I'm going to get up there a good hour before first light at a minimum, and I'm planning on sitting there until I kill or all day. On public ground, my buck hunting is very surgical. Go in when the time is right and make it happen that first or second time, because by the time you get to 3 or 4, odds are way too high that you've already tipped your hand. So I'll go ahead. I don't just hunt public ground on that limited of a basis, but before then and on bad weather movement days, I'm hunting over there. Areas that aren't as good, but that I could get lucky and I'm out here having some fun.
Hunt 'em Big with Steve Bartylla. Brought to you by Wildlife Research Center, the gold standard. Reconics. See what you've been missing. Get armed and deadly with Easton's FMJ arrows. By Hunter Safety Systems. Saving lives is what we do. Sever broadheads, straight through it. By Primal Tree Stands. Stand safely, hunt smart. By Chestnut Hill Outdoors. And by Shop Outright Hunting Products, home of the Morph Pro Bowhanger.
The best thing you can do when you first think about hunting a property is gauge the amount of pressure that property receives. If it's very low pressure, you know what, go nuts, guys and girls, because you're going to be able to get away with murder. If it's normal to high pressure, you need to adjust accordingly. The higher the pressure is, the more low impact you have to go, the less gadgets you can get away with using, and the more you focus on simply getting away from everybody else and hunting those very high odds days.